Peace, family. We are back with another one. And today we are talking about the impact your relationship with your father, the impact that relationship has on your relationship with yourself and on your relationships with other people. All right. This is part three. This is part three to this healing the father wound build. And we are live today on both Instagram and YouTube. Okay. On Instagram and YouTube. And I just want to tell y'all, every time I talk about these topics, I get more and more and more confirmation on why it is so important. All right. Funny enough, just yesterday, right? Like I said, I've been talking about this topic for the last 2 weeks since we entered the month of June. And yesterday, a young man in our soul family, in our spiritual community, messaged me saying, "How did you know that I needed to deal with this father wound energy? Like, how did you know? How is this showing up?" And I'm like, "Sir, it's just spirit, all right? Like spirit just channels to me, what needs to be talked about, what needs to be dealt with, and I just listen." So he messaged me that. Do you know? A few hours later, he messages me again and says, "Would you believe my father, who I've never met, who I've never talked to, would you believe, could you believe that he just reached out to me saying that he wants to connect?" Okay. Miracles are happening right now in the realm of your relationship with your father, how you perceive your father, how that relationship has impacted you. Miracles are happening right now if you will choose to lean into the energy, to embrace the energy, and to accept the fact that your relationship with your father has impacted your overall state of being. How you show up in relationships with other people, how you show up in your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your father, the beliefs you have about your father, the judgments and the perceptions you have on your father affect you. They just do. Accept it. And so I told this in the Sacred Sister Circle just the other day. Uh, we had a Sacred Sister Circle session. Something so amazing happened, y'all. So I was telling y'all last week and the week prior, I was telling you all that if you still hold on to judgment, if you still hold on to resentment, anger, frustration on a very subtle level with your father, then you are repressing or denying certain aspects or certain qualities or certain sides of yourself. Okay. And and you need to know this. At the end of the day, there are qualities about your father that you actually desire to embody. But when you have frustration, judgment, resentment towards him and what he did or did not do, some of those qualities you repress. Some of those qualities you block. Some of those qualities you deny because there's some lingering energy of, and I know this is a lot, but it just is what it is. There's lingering energies of just self-denial, right? Or even self-sabotage, or even just feeling like you are unworthy, because the truth of the matter, deep, deep, deep within our being, we know that we are our father and we are our mother as well. Okay. So, really quick story while I'm in the thought, and then I'm gonna come back and say hey to all of y'all. So, I told this to the Sacred Sister Circle. This was so magical. So, as I've been talking about this, I told y'all, I'm letting it go. I refuse to hold on to any frustration or anger or disappointment for anybody in my life, because I just refuse to allow another person's energy to impact or influence my life and my manifestations, no matter who it is, unless this person is influencing or impacting my life for the better, right? So, Sunday was my father's 55th birthday. Sunday was my father's 55th birthday. And we called him and we sang. Happy birthday to him. And my father moved into a new house in February. And so it's been a few months. We hadn't had the time to go to the house. And so I was like, okay, daddy, for your birthday, we're going to come see you, sing happy birthday, bring you a cake, all of that good stuff. Come see the house for the first time. And he's like, okay, cool, come on. So we go to his house, we pull up, first time seeing this house, beautiful home. $600,000 home in Texas, right? Texas, for the most part, before inflation and all of that stuff happened, you can get a nice home, some bang for your buck, right? In Texas, you can get a nice size property on a nice size piece of land, you know what I mean, with the right amount of money. So $600,000 home. My father is coming with it, okay? He's coming with it. And so we get to his house and he takes us on a tour and it is just beautiful. There are so many qualities in my father's brand new house that I'm like, yep, I will take that. I will take that. I love this. I was just so in awe that he had manifested this. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, why would I stay mad and annoyed with my father for whatever it is that he did when I can see clearly using my own two eyes, right? I can see that he's tapped into something that I desire to tap into as well. I'm a homeowner dreaming I own our home already, but we want better, we want bigger, we want greater. And so my father is a reflection of that to me, but that's just like the that's just the start of it, right? We're sitting down in my father's movie theater room, right? He has this big 85-inch screen TV. He has surround sound, excuse me, he has these nice reclining chairs. The room is painted black and it's just gorgeous and comfortable. And so we're in here, we're chatting, and my father says, I wake up every morning around 7 o'clock. I go sit in my backyard, sit on my covered patio. He has a covered patio with a TV back there and some patio furniture. He says, and I go out there and I sit and I just sip my coffee and I eat some breakfast and I just breathe and I just enjoy nature. And when he said that, Dream and I looked at each other like, this nigga, okay? This man just said one of my manifestations to a T. To a T, family. Like, literally a few weeks, well, months ago, I had made a Patreon video where I was outside in a robe, sipping on some coffee, some mud water to be exact. And I made the video out there sipping on that mud water because I wanted to tell the Patreon family how important it is. If you want to collapse time to manifest your desires quicker, start doing the things you see yourself doing in that manifestation. Okay? Check. Do we understand? If you want to start manifesting something faster, you want to collapse the timing, you want to align with that new reality, start doing, right? Start doing the thing that you desire to do right now. And so that morning on Patreon, I'm sitting outside in my backyard. We got a lot of land, but I don't got the covered patio yet. But I'm sitting back there, I'm sipping on my tea, and I'm just enjoying nature. And so for my father to turn around and say that he does the exact thing that I see in my manifestation is just further proof that the energy that I've been speaking to you all about for the last 2 weeks, right? Today is week 4. Is today video number 4? Maybe today is video or 3 or 4. I don't know. But it just further validated what I'm talking about. See, whether you have a solid relationship with your father right now or not, whether you know him or not, at the end of the day, there's still this masculine energy, there's still these qualities and these understandings that our father has that we need to tap into, right? In order to manifest certain things that we desire to manifest. All right? And so that was a full circle moment of proof of spirit just showing me like, yes, it's real. It's real. So just to quickly recap what I told y'all, actually, before I recap, let me say hey to y'all. Before I recap, really, what are you doing? My computer is doing something funny right now. Hold on. Before I recap, let me say hey to everybody that's in the chat. Yes. Shout out to everybody over here on Instagram. Geraldine, Trimasters, Truth Be Told, Perfect Solutions, Cashmere, K Mula, Sa Unk, Get 'em CC, Estella Bella, all y'all good people. Hey, let me see. What's up to my sacred sister, DJ Shea Butter, The Modest More, my love, Iman, hey sis, Soul Energizer, Cosmic Creatrix, Sarah Mother. Hey to all of y'all. I am Infinite Being. Hey to all of y'all. What's up? Go ahead and take a moment and just like the video. Y'all know how this algorithm stuff works. So just like the video, okay? Because you already know it's going to get deep. All right? Go ahead and like the video because you already know it's going to get deep and people need to know what is going on. So just a really quick big up my friends. Yes. So just to really quickly recap some of the stuff that we dealt with over the last 2 weeks. All right. One, you need to truly understand that your father makes up 50% of your DNA, right? His code, his program, his belief systems, his indoctrination makes up 50% of your DNA. That's just the reality. That's just how this humanity works, okay? And so, with that, when we don't forgive, release, and let go of certain qualities that our father embodied within his relationship with us, when we don't release that and forgive that, we're actually denying an aspect of ourselves, okay? It's simple. It's simple math, okay? The next thing you need to understand is that strong emotions towards your father, whether it is emotions of love or hate, strong emotions towards your father ultimately creates some strong emotions towards yourself. Why is that? It's for the very same reason that I just told you, okay? Parts of you are him. And so when you are still angry, frustrated, mad, why did he do this? Why did he do that? You in turn flip that energy. It stops being a projection onto him and you project it onto yourself. Okay? And of course, this does not just apply to your father. This applies to your mother as well. All right? This applies to your mother as well. So let's get into the understanding of how your relationship with your father is impacting, or the lessons you've learned from your father, how it is impacting your relationship with yourself and your relationship with other people. All right. And a lot of this is going to go for both men and women because it's very prevalent and very real for both of us. But before I get into that, I want to let the ladies know this Saturday, ladies, this Saturday, I am teaching one of my womb alchemy healing classes where we're going to be diving into balancing this masculine, this feminine energy. Because most recently, everybody's talking about, okay, you need more feminine energy, you need more feminine energy, you need more feminine energy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we need masculine energy too. The masculine energy has just been out of balance, which we can observe that, right? We can observe that. So this Saturday, my class is going to be focusing on how to create a healthy balance between the masculine and the feminine energy. It's not about denying the masculine or putting the feminine above or ahead of the masculine. It's about integrating both of them. And we need that. So right now over here on YouTube, I'm dropping the link so that if you want to register, all you got to do is put your name and email. If you want to register to join that class this Saturday, absolutely free. I'm so excited about it because it's been a while since I've taught in that way. But yeah, that's what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on balancing out that masculine, that feminine energy. We're going to be talking a lot about the father energy in that realm. We're going to be talking about how to use your masculine energy for your power, for your manifestation, because it's necessary and it is needed. Like I just showed y'all with my father who just bought that house. I'm looking at him like, okay, I need to tap into some of what you tapping into. I need some of that, okay? So it's all very real. That's happening this Saturday. The link is in the bio. If you're on Instagram and you go to my website, click on the tab that says Womb Alchemy, and you'll see everything that you need to know there as well. All right. So that's enough of that. We'll talk more about that later. Ladies, if you have questions on that, we'll talk about that. Or you can ask me questions and we'll see what's up. All right. So getting into the topic. Y'all let me know in the chat. Y'all let me know in the chat, what are some lessons that your father has taught you? If you can just give a word or a few words, some lessons that your father have taught you. I had a dream a few nights ago, maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, right? I had a dream 2 weeks ago where spirit was telling me that sometimes the lessons that our fathers try to instill in us, sometimes they don't go as planned, right? Like your father would say, I want you to do this, do this, do this, but he's showing you something else. These are the lessons that I call our natural lessons, right? These are our natural lessons. These are the moments when your father says, do this because of this. That's a natural lesson. That's a natural in this human experience. That's a way that a father teaches. He takes his time. He tells you this is what you need to do and for this specific reason. Okay. Another form of natural lessons, meaning us learning about the masculine energy. All right. Follow me here. Us learning about the masculine energy and how that energy is supposed to show up and present itself. Sometimes it comes through our father's communication, through him talking and telling us stuff. Sometimes it happens through our father's actions. Sometimes it's us observing him that teaches us a natural lesson. All right. Girl, Sarah, mother said her daddy taught her how to do yard work. Yes, that is a natural lesson. Right? That is a natural lesson. Her father taught her how to forgive. That's super powerful. I love that. I love that for you. Okay. These are natural lessons. All right. These are important because a lot of times the natural lessons and the things that our fathers are intentionally teaching us, a lot of times it comes from what they did or did not have. It comes from what their experience was. So something that my father taught me through observation and through him talking to me and through my observation of him, something that he taught me is live and let live. He like, don't try to control nobody. Don't try to make nobody do anything. Observe people, see what they're going to do, and let it be what it's going to be. That's a natural lesson that he taught me. But here's the thing that is so deep about it is that though your father may tell you these things, though your father may show you these things, it may not activate what is required inside of you in order for you to live the life that you actually desire to live. Ooh. Let me say that again. Though your father or your mother may say, this is how we behave, this is how we show up, this is how we react, this is how we respond, this is how we do yard work, this is how you are to be resilient, this is how, though your father may tell you those things and teach you those things, whether it is through his presence or lack thereof, okay, let's also understand that lessons are also learned in your father's absence. Beliefs are also cultivated, whether he's there or whether he's not, whether he's a protector or he's not, whether he's a provider or he's not, you're still learning something. You're still picking up on something. You're still developing a certain belief system surrounding what he did or didn't do, what he said or what he didn't said, how he did or did not show up. Check. And these lessons, right? These lessons are how you go out and perceive the world. These lessons are how you go out and engage with the world and other people. But most importantly, these lessons determine how you engage with yourself. And just to be all the way real, sometimes these lessons do not turn on for you. Sometimes the light switch doesn't go off until it goes off. And that's what we call activation. Okay? That's what we call activation. Activation is when you are reminded of ancient memories, of ancient wisdom. And let me tell you something so deep. Sometimes the things that are being activated are not good. Are not good. Let me say good in quotations, because all things work together for those, right, who are in their Christ consciousness. All things work together for you. Always. But sometimes some memories that are, oh, come on, spirit. Sometimes our relationship with our father can activate a lack of self-love. Sometimes it can activate self-hatred. Sometimes it can activate this guilt. Sometimes it can activate shame. Activation is what happens when you have an experience or when you receive some information and you are reminded of something that is deeply encoded in your DNA. Okay? Sometimes we're turning on a dormant energy that doesn't serve the goal or that doesn't serve the desire. Okay? Sometimes oh, come on, spirit. It's getting real. Okay? I just will say it like that. It's just getting real in here. And I really need y'all to understand this. This is so powerful and so important right now. Because cosmically, there are a lot of magical things happening, right? And a lot of opportunities to transform your life. I mean, there always is opportunities to transform your life, but you have to learn to optimize the energy that is present. Okay. So let's talk about, so now that you understand natural lessons, now that you understand activation, understand that there's polarity in everything. So some of these lessons can serve your highest good. Some of these lessons can bring something outside of you that is unhealthy in your relationships and in your relationship with yourself. We're going to dive into that deeper right now. But now that you understand that, now you can see how some of what you've learned as a child and as a young adult, you can see how those things show up in how you see yourself, how you receive yourself, and how you engage with other people. All right. Y'all let me know in the chat if y'all want some examples of this. Let me know if y'all want some examples. Because, baby, listen, I got some examples for y'all when it comes down to provision, meaning your father being a provider, whether he was or wasn't. What does that look like? Protection. What does that look like? Abandonment, rejection, all of that good stuff. Support. I got some stuff I can share some stuff with y'all. Y'all let me know if y'all want to hear some examples, because just maybe the examples that I'm going to share with you today, some very deep, maybe some of these examples are exactly what you've been dealing with and what you need to overcome and what you need to heal. Okay? All right? So, the modest Moore just said, "What does provision look like?" We're gonna talk about the one for provision. Ooh, because baby, let me tell you, how polarity exists in everything, and based off of the belief systems cultivated through that childhood experience, it will determine how you show up. Here's a great example of provision. I know a young lady. She's the youngest. Okay, follow me here. She's the youngest of 5 children. She's the youngest daughter of 5 children. And y'all already know qualities of the youngest. Some of those qualities are, oh, she's spoiled, and daddy, oh God, I got so many good ones. And daddy does everything for her, and she never got to do anything for herself. And, daddy makes sure that she has everything. And daddy. I literally know somebody like this, know them very well. Daddy. This, and let me tell you that energy of provision. Good job, daddy. Good job being a provider. Good job making sure your daughter had everything that she needed. But that can go sideways if you don't teach your daughter how to respect what she's being given, what she's being provided for, if you don't teach your daughter how to have gratitude for what is being given to her, if you don't teach your daughter how to balance out giving and receiving, otherwise she would become a leech and she would drain the hell out of people that she engages with, because she carries this expectation and this energy and this internal lesson that everybody owes her something because her daddy provided without any stipulation. Okay? It wasn't no, in order for you to get this, you need to do this. Now, I'm not saying that it has to be that way all the time, right? Sometimes you give and gift someone you love with something just because you love them. But if you are doing that and instilling that into a young girl, into a child, she becomes a woman that feels obligated to shit that she didn't work for. I know her. I know her. I'm not making this up. I know her. I know her pretty intimately at that. And then when a person doesn't give into how she views the world and how she desires things, oh, they this or they that, or the man that she's dating, if he doesn't provide for her every need straight off the rip, he's not a real man. But not only does this upbringing and father lesson that she's adopted, not only does it impact her relationship with her husband, it affects her relationship with her daughter, because now her daughter can't cry. Now her daughter, right? Now her daughter can't suffer, even if that suffering is for your good. See, children need discipline. Children need discipline. Children need a certain level of suffrage for them to learn lessons. I've seen the same young lady that I'm talking to you about. Same young lady. We're at a baby shower, her baby shower to be specific. Was it her baby shower? I don't know if it was her baby shower or gender reveal. I've never seen somebody be a bridezilla in person, right? Y'all remember that show Bridezilla? This girl was a baby shower zilla, right? A baby mama zilla to her own siblings. And at that moment, that's when, because we've had some issues. Me and this specific person that I'm talking about, we've had some issues. We've had some back and forth. And I didn't understand where it was coming from, because you see, I grew up without my father in the household. I grew up with a mother who was a workaholic, with a mother who was a go-getter, with a mother who showed me, shit, you better go and get it, girl. Right? That's how I grew up. That's why, I had my first job, though I didn't necessarily need it, but I got my first job at like 15, 16 and had to move things around in my life. And my mama didn't say you need a job. I said, I'm going to go and get a job. But anywho, so this young lady, we were having this back and forth, and I'm like, what is the issue with her? Like, why can't we just have an understanding? Then when I went to that baby shower, and I saw the way she engaged with her own sisters, I was like, oh shit, it's just her world. This is just her world, and we are all just living in it, baby. And if you don't do what she thinks or feels you should be doing, it's a problem. She was nasty to her own siblings. So this is a form. So she picked up a lesson through her father's provision. She picked up a lesson that whatever she wants, she can just have, without respecting and honoring and understanding the people around her. That's a toxic quality trait, and that does not work in marriage and in relationships. Okay? And it doesn't work in your relationship with yourself, because you don't know how to tell yourself no. And this same woman that I'm speaking of today, whose name shall not be mentioned, if you don't know how to say no because your father always said yes, this is how you have spending habits. This is how you have, this is how you have unhealthy spending habits, meaning you spend, and you ain't got the money to spend. This is why you eat, and you can't fit none of them clothes in your closet. Okay. I'm just telling you, the lessons that you learn from we talking about fathers, but it's really from both parents. The lessons that you learn from them impact the relationship you have with yourself and the relationship you have with other people. It just does. Okay. But on the other side, we've also seen healthy provision, meaning your basic necessities are going to be provided for. You're going to eat, you're going to have a shelter, you're going to have the things that you need as a child to succeed. Now, all of the extra stuff, when you want every new pair of Jordans that come out, when you got to have the next and newest phone and this and this and this and this and this, when you got to have all of that, what are you going to do to earn it? Do not let, oh, come on, ladies, let me talk to y'all. Do not let this soft life, soft girl, man got to pay all your bills, society get you messed up, because you have a man in your life who's willing to provide and take care of you. Great. But then you denounce all your skills, all your talents, and all your resources. And God forbid something happens within that relationship, and now you don't know how to go and get it yourself. Okay? As women, we have to know how to go and get it ourselves. It's beautiful to have a man who have a partner who is willing and wants to provide and take care of you. That's great. But you're still dependent on somebody. All right? So you have to have these skills. Healthy provision from a father, would be teaching his daughter, yes, a man can show up for you, provide for you, and give for you, but you need to have skills and resources for yourself. You have to know how to discipline and take action for yourself. If there's something you want, daughter, what agreement can we make? What healthy agreement can we make that would show me that investing in you, getting you these shoes or putting you in volleyball and basketball and all of that stuff, what can we do to where I will know that you are ready to withhold the stuff that you're asking me for? That's healthy provision. And in marriages with men and women, that same energy still needs to apply. Right? Like women, this whole energy of a man providing for a woman. You can't, like, we got to get out of the illusion. It's delusional. Ladies who are stay-at-home moms, they work harder than women that go to jobs if they really doing it. I'm just tell you the truth from me, who I don't often sell y'all stuff. I don't often be like, okay, buy my class, even though I do have a class coming that y'all gonna be able to enroll in. But I'm not often on here selling y'all something. So for me, a stay-at-home mom partner, it's work. It's work. It's not me sitting up here sipping on some wine, watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, stop. It's cooking dinner, folding clothes, taking care of these kids, taking them to the library, making sure dreams, physical, mental, emotional needs are being met. It's delusional, ladies. Let me just go ahead and tell you, it's delusional to think that if you are not giving this man, and I'm just going to go ahead on this rant, men need physical touch. Let's just be real about it. They need that. So don't think that if you are not willing to be physically intimate with a man, that he's just about to be taking care of you. If he is, he's probably a peon. I just is what it is. So the nurturing, the understanding, the listening, the loving, all of that stuff is necessary and required. Okay? It's not just I'm beautiful and I got a vagina and yeah, girl, bye. So many beautiful women out here with that same thing, okay? And of course, it goes deeper than that as well. Because a lot of times women are come on, the same woman I was just telling y'all about is expecting these provisions. And if she get the right man who does not have confidence and assertiveness within himself, he will be that, but it won't be healthy. And the relationship will be destructive because there are no healthy boundaries. Okay? There are no healthy boundaries. So now you stressed out, she unhappy, and da 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 da. And while you thought you had a good thing, and a man who finds a wife finds a good thing, it's delusional. So we got to be real about the lessons that we've learned and how these lessons impact and influence how we show up in relationships and what we believe about ourselves. All right? So provision is good. Fathers provide provision. The masculine energy, that masculine energy within itself is to provide provision. But ladies, you have masculine energy as well, which means you need to be able to tap into levels of provision and providing for yourself as well. Okay? You have to be able to do that. You have to have skills. You have to have resources. You have to know how to go and get it if going and get it is what's required. We all have it. Just for a lot of women, we've been out of balance with the masculine energy. I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons, and this is so good. A side note to provision, a quick side note to provision, meaning being a provider, making sure your needs are cared for. If a father provides the physical needs, I make sure you eat, I make sure you're fed, I make sure you got them clothes in the home of your body, but he lacks emotional support, but he lacks emotional presence, there will still be a void in that child or in that woman or in that man or in that boy, in that girl. There will still be a void there. I've seen it. Here's a great example. I got so many examples of this, and I'm so grateful to Spirit for just showing me these things. And I've been seeing it since I was a kid, right? I got a lot to share with y'all, so I got to get through this, right? So an old associate of mine, we went to high school together. I talked about this in Patreon last week. This young lady, she drove a luxury car to high school. She always had the True Religion jeans. She always had the Jordans. Her parents were always together. They're married. Ooh, we live in this big house. And y'all live in little small houses and apartments. And I live in this big house in the suburbs and all of that. So clearly, she was financially provided for. But I would observe her. And she would be screaming for attention. Literally screaming for attention in the sense of, if we're like out in the hallway, she's going to just randomly walk up to a boy and probably like push his head or something. Or she's going to just walk up to a boy and be like, "Well, boy, what you doing, girl? You know, that type of energy." As we get older, we finally learn how to twerk. Y'all know how that goes. Me and my homegirls, we used to come to my house because I live directly across the street from the school. We used to come to my house. I turned on the radio, turn on some of that New Orleans bounce music. Baby, we learned how to twerk. We was shaking it. Honey, this young lady, anytime we took a picture, it's turning around back shots, ass shots. Got to show the ass. Why can't we show the face? Why can't we show the front of the dress? Okay, everything is ass shots. Look at me. Look at this. Everything is twerking. Everything is, look at this body. Everything is just loud. Everything is just argumentative. Why? Because the lesson learned through her experience was, yes, I'm provided for financially, and she's still provided for financially, right? She still, I think, drives like a Range Rover right now or whatever. Great. She's still provided for financially, but has an emotional deficit or an emotional deficiency. And so because her emotional needs were not met, because parents Some parents think that if I provide for you, oh, I heard this was so good. This was so good. Parents create narcissistic children when they praise all the good things that they do, or when they give them all the attention when they misbehave and they act out. But when they don't tend to that kid's emotion, this kid becomes an adult that thinks that their actions are what makes them who they are, what they wear, what they drive are what actually defines them. And so, or they'll learn this idea that if I act out, if I misbehave, if I fight, if I'm obnoxious, this is how I get attention. So I'm going to do that. If you give a child more attention when they're acting out than when you give them when they are behaving, when they're quiet, when they're doing as they're told, if you give them more energy and attention when they're acting an ass, guess what? They're going to act an ass. And guess what? They're going to grow up and be big assholes, okay? Your relationships, your relationship with your father impacts your relationship with yourself. So now when I observe this specific young lady that I'm talking about, who still does a lot of the same stuff today, this is why we're not like that. Like, we don't have that relationship at all. But sometimes, we run into each other. We're in the same circle, what have you. But when I observe this, I see a child who lacked emotional support. And therefore, the lesson that she's picked up on is my body, my words, my attitude, my belongings, that's value. Which creates a person who is not able to be vulnerable, or who masks vulnerability and all of the range of emotions that she may have, masks that with over-sexualism, masks that with anger, masks that with being a mad Black woman, when in reality, you're just a child who has all of these emotions that were not tended to. Okay? So now imagine how she would show up in relationships. Our relationship had to end because I refused to be out with somebody who was going to be seeking attention by any means necessary. That's not okay with me. I'm not on that vibe. Some of these friends I would go out with, and it was like every damn weekend we going out and we fighting. Like, why? I'm here to have a good time. Not to be fighting at the end of the club with no shoes on, running to get in your car so you don't get arrested. This is what I'm talking about. Okay? So that's one example of, yes, you may be provided for, but what about the emotional security, the emotional support, the emotional safety? Y'all want to hear another example? Y'all let me know if y'all want to hear another example. I want to make sure that I'm giving you something that you can understand and that you can sit with and reflect upon within your own life. You want to hear another example? I got plenty. I talked about this in the Patreon this morning. This morning while we were in Patreon, I talked about this. I was this person. I'll talk about the person I was because I felt abandoned and rejected by my father, right? Because that's how I felt. And that's a belief that I learned through the lessons, right? Through the lessons of, okay, daddy, you're supposed to come and pick me up right now. You didn't come. This shit gets so freaking deep. It's crazy. I'm going to tell y'all two lessons that I learned. One lesson, the first lesson or belief. When I say lesson, understand I'm talking about a belief that you adopt based off of your experience, okay? So a belief or a lesson that I adopted based off of my experience was that and I don't have this same belief anymore. This is an old belief. This is an old limiting belief, right? But an old lesson that I learned through not having that relationship with my father was that I wasn't worth the work, right? I used to believe that if a relationship had challenges and trials or whatever, it's best to just end it and not show up and not deal with it. That's something that I used to believe. And as you can understand, I adopted that mentality because I felt that my father wasn't willing to fight for me with my mother. All right. I felt that he wasn't ready and willing to go to war to make sure that he got to be with his daughter consistently. So I adopted this belief. And through the observation of the situation, I just started to feel like if we're arguing, if you're not showing up for me, I should just end this thing. I didn't believe in working at the relationship. I actually would feel like abandon it. What is the word? What is the word when they say abandon ship? Right, abandon ship. Like jump off the ship, girl, swim away fast, just be done with it. And that belief would have kept me in a cycle, in a repetitive cycle of unhealthy relationships. And I would go as even far to say this is going to be a major one for a lot of women. Ooh, you're going to hear me here. You're going to feel me here. But if I would have maintained that belief system of abandon ship, abandon them or abandon him before he abandons me, I have no doubt in my mind that this belief would lead to single motherhood for me. I know. Let me sip my coconut water on that. If I would have maintained that thought process, Dream and I are in our 9th year of being together. And there were so many times throughout, thank goodness for him. Thank God for him. Thank the Most High for him because he's a very committed person. Right? Once he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. It don't matter whatever's going on, he's going to do it. I love that about him. I appreciate that. And only he can tell you how he adopted. Only maybe that's the Virgo in him, even though he ain't even into all of the astrology stuff. But only he could tell you how he adopted that type of mentality. But for me, what I observed is it's not worth the work or the self-reflection or the creativity, right? The creativity, the redoing it, the taking a step back, zooming out. And I realized that belief system would block me not only in my relationship with Dream, but in my relationship with myself. Because when I would do work, if it got too hard, if it got too challenging, if I had to battle with myself, I just give up. I'm done with it. I don't even care no more. I'm just done with it. And so I had to learn through just healing work and through realizing and recognizing this, I had to learn that true love and partnership and family is worth doing the work if you have somebody who's willing to work with you. Right? If you have somebody who's willing to look at themselves, reflect on themselves, and actually take action to becoming better, And so that was a major healing lesson for me, right? To control that urge or that tendency to just run away instead of facing things head on. Just abandon the situation itself, right? Very real stuff. Another powerful lesson, I shared this with the Sacred Sister Circle on Monday. Powerful lesson that I learned, right? I realized just a few days ago when it comes down to my father, I realized that a part of why setting timelines and dates and saying I'm going to do things at a certain time, I realized that it wasn't just me saying, oh, I'm going to be in my Oshun divine flow energy. Yeah, a lot of times, ladies, we're just masking a fear of commitment, right? So, whenever we're saying, oh, I'm just going to go with the flow, or it'll happen when it's going to happen, or it'll happen in divine timing. A lot of times we're just afraid of making the decision and acting on it. And I did not realize that I was living from that space. And I was living from that space because, again, we're talking about the father here. Best believe I'm not bashing my father. I love my father. I just talked to him a little while ago today, but I'm just telling you about our experience, right? And I can do the same thing with my mother as well. But for the month of June, we're talking about father, right? So my father wouldn't come on some of those days that he was supposed to come. I've told y'all this before. Daddy, it's your weekend, Daddy. Where you at? No, but you calling mama saying, oh, they called me into work, or I'm tired, or whatever. So I adopted through that lesson and through that observation, I adopted this idea that says, don't set dates and times for things because it probably won't happen. And if it don't happen, you're going to be let down. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be sad. You're going to feel some type of way about it. So don't set a date. Don't set a time. Just say it'll happen when it'll happen. This made me not discipline myself, which is a masculine quality. This made me not discipline myself to show up at the times that I needed to show up, to do the work that I needed to do in order to complete a result at a specific time. See, that's strictly... So the relationship and the engagement with my father and him not showing up on those days impacted my ability to dwell in healthy masculine energy, which is you set that time, right? You show up, you do the work, you come at that time, you discipline yourself, you remain consistent, you take the action, okay? But because my father not showing up on those days where he said he was going to show up, I decided I wasn't going to feel disappointment from that anymore. So forget days. If he show up today, great. If he doesn't show up today, okay, whatever, all good. At least we didn't say that it was going to be today. We just said it was going to be sometime soon. Do you understand? Put a check in the chat if you understand what I'm communicating with you right now. So that impacted the masculine energy that I embody within myself. Very deep stuff. You got to understand these things. If you can understand, let me tell you why this is important. If you can understand the complexities of your own mind and your own emotion, you can do the work to become, to heal, to integrate, to activate things inside of you that align with the goals and with the desires that you have. But if you can't recognize your own complexities and first of all, stop denying. That's one big old thing. The very first thing is stop denying the impact and the influence your parents have had on you. But then secondly, stop fighting to hold on to it. Stop fighting to hold on to these beliefs, these lessons, these observations that are not in alignment with the goal that you have. I'm going to tell y'all another story that's very, very deep, and it deals with rejection. Anybody ever dealt with rejection? Anybody ever dealt with rejection from a parent? This is a deep one. Y'all let me know in the chat if you've ever dealt with rejection, or if you've ever observed somebody deal with rejection. Let me know in the chat, because this one right here is going to get real. And let me tell you, yes, we're talking about the father, and Father's Day is this weekend. But this goes for both mother and father. The impact is still just as intense, right? Secondly, I want to say tomorrow, I love you, tomorrow. That's so funny, because just last night I was talking about the play Annie. Come on, Spirit. What the hell is that about, Spirit? I don't know why I just started singing that tomorrow. It'll come through. Last night I was talking to Dreamwise about the play Annie and how I was in the play Annie when I was in elementary school, right? Y'all know Annie, the movie, right? They keep on remaking it. The last one they remade, Jamie Foxx. The last one they remade, Jamie Foxx was Mr. Warbucks, the billionaire who adopted Annie. I know this is random as hell, but it is what it is. Yeah. I was in the play Annie. I was the lady Miss Grace, right? Which was Mr. Warbucks what is it? His assistant, right? I was his assistant in the play Annie. Real talk, y'all. Real talk. I was his assistant. Elementary school. And I remember we were doing the performance, y'all, and I'm so excited. First of all, I'm so excited to be in this role. And do y'all know it's my line, right? I'm on the stage with Mr. Warbucks, me and Annie. I don't know what we're talking about. I forgot, but I forgot my lines on the stage. That was probably one of my first moments of well, probably not the first, but that was one of the moments that I remember being embarrassed, right? I totally forgot my lines. And it's funny because I still remember who was playing Mr. Warbucks. My old classmate. Haven't seen this guy in years, but I remember who was playing Mr. Warbucks, and he's looking at me on the stage and he's like, come on, what you supposed to say? I'm like, dang, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. It totally left my mind. It totally disappeared. That's just so crazy how that happened to me. Elementary school, on the stage, performing the play Annie in front of the entire school. And I forgot my lines. I drew a blank. Okay. I drew a complete blank. All right. Don't know why I told you that story, but hey, you know what? I do know why I'm telling you. I'm telling you that because I know why. Thank you, Spirit. I'm telling you that because guess what? I get to heal that little girl every time I get on stage, every time every time I sit, because I'm sitting, every time I sit before you all and talk about these things, I get to heal that little girl who got on that stage and forgot them lines. It's just the stage of YouTube today. And tomorrow, Dreamwise, Brother Yosef and I, we are going live to talk about fear. We're going to talk about fatherhood. We're going to talk about fathers, and we're going to go even deeper. Myself, Dreamwise, and Brother Yosef tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all want to be there because y'all know when we get together, we have a good time. So that's why I was saying tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow we're doing that. Tomorrow, the 15th, we're doing that. Make sure y'all join us. And while I'm talking about being on the stage, I'm going to be speaking at the Mystic Mind Conference that is happening July 8th. So we got about 3 weeks till that's happening where I'm going to be on stage and I get to heal that little elementary school girl who lost her words on stage while performing Annie. What a blessing that is. And then the point I'm also making to you is that these lessons, they come around full circle. You never have to hold on to, I can't make this up. You never have to hold on to any hurt, any pain, any disappointment, any lack. You don't have to hold on to that and continue recreating that as your life experience. That little wound, that little nick, right? That little scar of being on stage and not being able to communicate and express those words, I could have held that with me for the rest of my life and blocked my purpose because I'm afraid of reliving that old wound. And the reality is that so many of us are doing that right now. Where your father, yes, he taught you a lesson. Some of those lessons felt good. Some of those lessons did not. But are you going to let that lesson keep running and governing your life because you can't forgive? Right? Because you judge yourself? Because you now reject yourself? Because you feel guilty about yourself now? No. That's not how you meant to live. You are meant to overcome. Right? You were born triumphant. Listen, I'm going to get into this shit for you. Right? Some people say, I was born to lose, but built to win. Stop it. You were never born to lose. You are a divine, sacred being having a human experience. And because you are divinity coming into this human form, you were meant to succeed. It's not the other way around. It's not that you are a human, meaning you're flawed, meaning you got issues and traumas and dramas in this body that is susceptible to all of this chaos. Your humanity does not come first. Your spirit, your soul, your higher self, that sacred energy that dwells inside of you, that is priority. That takes precedence. And because that takes precedence, you are always a winner. But you got the lines crossed. You got things mixed up. You got it backwards, where you have allowed your humanity and who your mother and your father was and what they did or did not do. You've allowed those experiences to dictate your spirit. And now your spirit is confused about who I am, why I am, what is my purpose, why am I here? And that's the difference. So you got to get to a point to where you say and you tell yourself, that you are going to allow the depths of who you really are, your spirit, your divinity, you are going to allow that to govern how you now perceive your situations, how you now perceive your father and your mother, how you now look at your children, how you now look at money, how you now look at your body, how you now look at reality. Okay? It's not the other way around. And let me tell you why this show is so important. Somebody just came on Instagram and their name is Glenn. Guess what my father's name is? See, y'all think Spirit be coming here playing with us, okay? It's not. Somebody on Instagram named Glenn, last name with a W. First of all, my father's name is Glenn. His last name also starts with a W. And Glenn just came on here on Instagram and says, "Grand afternoon, goddess." And y'all think it's a coincidence that somebody would come on here with the same name as my father while I'm talking about healing the father energy? If you do, you sleep. That's just it. If you do, you sleep. That's all I'm going to say. That's on that. Okay? That's on that. Thank you, Glenn, for showing up on here. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy, for your energy showing up and still being prevalent in my life, no matter what. I thank you. I thank you for the lessons. I thank you for the lessons, because these lessons have led to me aligning with my soul, with my purpose, with my goodness, with my power. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Father. All right. Let's get back on topic, because I remember asking y'all, have any of y'all ever experienced rejection? And so many of y'all said yes, 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 yes. Let's get into the depths of rejection. I don't know how deep your rejection is, but one of the greatest forms of rejection is when a woman becomes pregnant with a child and this man does not want the child. Have y'all ever seen experiences like that? I'm going to give it to y'all. Really? Amber Alert? Okay. Hopefully this child is safe. My bad, y'all. So, a woman becomes pregnant with a child and the man doesn't want the child for whatever reason. Maybe he tells himself, "I can't afford it." Maybe he tells himself, "Oh, this relationship, we ain't really good. We ain't really in a good place." Maybe he feels inadequate of becoming a father. Who knows what it is? But he doesn't want the child. So naturally, this child, this embryo, okay, this embryo is now picking up on energies of rejection while in the womb. Picking up on energies of rejection while in the womb, not being wanted. Have y'all ever heard of situations like this? Have you ever seen situations like this? Let me know in the chat. I think we all have. But what I know is that we don't know the depth that impacts that child onto adulthood, because you may have a mother. A mother says, "You know what? I'm pregnant with this baby. You may not want it, but I'm keeping it." So now this embryo, this seed, right? This seed has these two opposing energies. One that's like, I love you, we're doing this, we're having you. And the other that's like, I don't want you, I don't want to. So naturally, this child has feelings, and this is very subconscious. This is very subconscious, right? This is not something that a child becomes starkly aware of, or even an adult becomes aware of. There are so many adults who lack self love, not because they don't understand what self love is, but because when they were conceived, one of their parents did not want them. This is why it's important to do womb regressions as well. Y'all need to come to the Womb Alchemy Healing Workshop. We do womb regressions in that workshop, where we actually go back to the womb, go back to when we were in our mother's womb, and we retell ourselves a new story. Okay, we tell ourselves a new story. This is important because the beliefs and the emotions of the parents when that child is in utero are developing and creating a belief system that the child will dictate its life around. I'm going to tell you real life experience that I observed from this by people by people that by people that I love very deeply. I heard a woman told me this. Okay? She found out she was pregnant. She already had two other children. Found out she was pregnant. The father of the child didn't want the child for whatever reason. Can't afford it. We ain't really in a good place. You know, our relationship isn't healthy, whatever the reason is. And she's thinking about what he's saying. Though she doesn't want to do it, what he's saying is now radiating in her mind, because that's natural. You have a conversation with somebody, you're going to think about those thoughts. You're going to think about the conversation. And she tells me this story. She says, she was having this battle of, why is he saying this? Why does he want to do this? So on and so forth. And she says she was wide awake when this happened. This wasn't a dream. She says she's out on her patio, just kind of thinking and contemplating, and she sees fire starts to surround her. So she's on a patio and with her eyes open, wide awake, spirit shows her fire surrounding her. This to her, okay, so I'm gonna have to call you back. This to her meant that if she were to get an abortion, she's a religious woman. This to her meant if she were to get an abortion, she would go to hell. She would burn in hell. And that this child needed to come. This child needed to be here. Okay? So, of course, she goes on. She becomes pregnant. She has the child. And the child is handsome, beautiful, and is a mama's boy. And the father finally accepts responsibility. He's like, okay, you know what? I got this child. This is my child. I'm going to love this child. But even in that, you know, when a man doesn't want the child that he conceives with the woman, that automatically throws off the relationship between the man and the woman. It's no longer we're not incompatible, right? That's the surface level. But when you go even deeper, the woman now got the side eye with you. Like, okay, you don't want to have this child. Yeah, we can't be together. They were married at the time. No, we can't be together. We're good. We're done. We're going our separate ways. Okay. So this is what happens. They break up. The man is a workaholic, right? The woman is also a workaholic, and she's a very strong masculine woman. She's very opinionated. She's very ferocious. She's a lioness. And so, of course, the man decides, okay, them my kids, but let's go to court. I'm going to be on child support. I get them on these weekends or whatever, and let's just do it like that. Sometimes he shows up on the weekends as his. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he is complaining about the money that he has to spend. Sometimes he's like, whatever. Sometimes the mother is like, okay, thank you. And then other times she's looking at her kids and she's saying, yo, daddy don't do shit. Yo, daddy swear he doing something because he paying that child support, but he be da 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 da. Y'all have heard of stories like this before. Let me know in the chat if you've heard of stories like this before. We've heard the story before. Heard it all before. You've heard it all before. But a lot of people don't talk about how this impacts the child. So now we have a child who's one of the parents didn't want them and the other one did. The child still is born and brought into this world. So now the child has inner conflict. But here's the thing. When you are born, you don't have to, at the soul level, right? At the soul level, you don't have to hold on to the narrative of the thoughts and the emotions that were imposed upon you from your parents. You don't have to keep them. Because in all reality, you are incarnating in this realm with a certain level of consciousness, with a certain level of understanding. So you don't have to keep them. Let me tell you what actually happens that makes that reality, or makes those emotions and makes those womb experiences become real and prevalent in your life. What makes it happen is the father doesn't show up. The mother says, yo, daddy didn't really want you and don't want to take care of you anyways. So the soul, see, oh, come on, spirit, this is so deep. Listen, when you are born, when you come through your mother's womb, everything that you used to know, you forget unless you have a very conscious, an enlightened parent. Do you understand? Okay. If you have any questions about what I'm speaking to you, please leave a comment in the chat so that I can address it. When you come through the womb of your mother, this is so deep. God is so dope. For the universe is so dope with how this is cultivated. When you come through the womb of your mother, the light is so bright on the other side of that womb that it dazes you. You literally forget everything that you thought you knew. Not only that, the portal of a mother, especially when you come through the vagina, the portal of a mother is so tight, it squeezes all of that information out of you. Now, this can be looked at as a positive or a negative. On the positive side, you get to recreate your own storyline, right? That's the positive. On the positive, you get to have what appears to be new experiences to you at the soul level. Okay? On the negative side, you forget that some of the experiences that you will have in this human life, you asked to have in order for you to evolve. And so you go through life and you're like, damn, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Well, your soul needs that to evolve. But at the end of the day, when you are born, you don't have to withhold that inner conflict. Or this specific child that I'm speaking about that I know really doesn't have to hold on to that inner conflict. But because of the lack of forgiveness towards the father, the self-hatred, the self-rejection, the self-blame, the self-guilt is stronger than ever. Okay? It's stronger than ever. So what am I telling you? When your parents think and feel a certain way about you, right? When your parents think and feel a certain way about you when you are in the womb, when you are born, it's like spirit hits the reset button. It's like spirit hits the reset button. But those wounds get activated based off of how the parents treat you. Are you following me? So if your parents, if they're showing up for you, if they're loving you, if they're emotionally supportive, mentally supportive, physically supportive, if they nurture you holistically, then you don't have to remember the traumas from when you were in the womb or even the traumas from your past lives. But when there are deficiencies in their care for you, this is what activates some of those DNA, right? Some of those internal communications that remind you of being unworthy, being unloved, being unwanted. Okay? How they rear you, some of the experiences that you have, the abandonment, the rejection, the denial, all of these things remind you and activate inside of you what you had once forgot when you entered the womb. When you entered into this earth realm. Okay? And so now this same person, this same child that I'm speaking of, now in their adult life, will blame themselves for everything that happens. Everything. You'll be in a relationship with a crazy person, right? And you attracted them for a reason, of course. You'll be in a relationship with a crazy person who is really not a good partner. And instead of you being able to, and instead of this person, because I'm talking about somebody that I know, but instead of this person being able to look at them and say, you got some flaws and you got some shit that you need to work on, they will tell themselves, it's my fault. I'm really not that great of a person. I'm terrible. I'm this, I'm that. And they will demean themselves, not because they actually are a bad person, not because they actually are inadequate, but because their life experiences continue to trigger the belief that they were unwanted when they were conceived. Y'all stop playing with me, please. Oh my God. I'm telling you, you know what? I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to get in my bag right now and tell y'all that some of the shit that spirit be channeling through me is just some next level stuff. It just is what it is. If you want some real deep healing work, if you want some real deep healing work, if you want to heal that inner child, look at me. That's baby D Ray. Ain't that perfect? Look at this, y'all. Look, this baby D Ray right here, y'all. If you want to heal that young you so you can be your full self, go ahead and book a consultation. Go ahead and get that one-on-one coaching. Go ahead and come to the classes, because this is just me. This is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm so grateful to do it. Look at spirit, though. Y'all see my background is like the cosmos. Y'all can't see it over here on Instagram because all y'all seeing is the green screen. But over here on YouTube, you see my background is the cosmos. And then look at my little picture here. This was elementary school, a little bookmark. How the hell? And let me tell y'all something that is so deep. My father is the person that keeps up with stuff like this. So like 2 years ago, he came to my house and he brought me all of this stuff. He's like, I want you to keep all of this stuff. And guess what was in it? This little bookmark of baby D Ray in the cosmos. And now look at me in them cosmos. Okay. Stop playing. I love it. Gratitude. Gratitude. Yep. That's me on a bookmark, elementary school. My father kept up with this. My father kept up with this. A man. And they say masculine energy isn't all sentimental and emotional, like keeping up with something from elementary school. But my daddy did. Okay. Anyway, so when you are conceived and one person and one parent is rejecting this new child from entering in the world, and it's like, I don't want you. And then the child's experiences are reinforcing that energy of rejection. This kid will grow up and become an adult and reject themselves, will make themselves guilty in damn near every situation, in their job life, in their relationship life. They will persecute themselves. They will persecute themselves because they like, I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. Do y'all see what I'm saying? And so then you show up in a relationship as unworthy, as unloved, and you manifest a person who will exploit all of that lack of security within yourself. You manifest a person who will show you everything about you that is not love, who will show you everything about you that is not worthy. If you don't know, I'm telling you right now, the effects of your relationships with your parents 100% impacts how you show up in relationships with others. You think it's just you. You think, oh, that's just me. That's just who I am. That's just what it is. No, it's not, baby. That's what you learned from your parents. And either you can decide to break the cycle, to do the alchemy, to transform and to heal, or it will continue to impact how you're showing up. All right. So again, I want to invite all the ladies. This Saturday, I am teaching a class for free. Come get this work this Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you in California somewhere, do the math, This Saturday, I'm teaching a free class on how we balance out that energy, because at the end of the day, you got to balance it out, because you need both your masculine and your feminine, and they have to be healthy. You got to know when to tap into masculine, when to tap into feminine, how to integrate that. You have to know that work, okay? That's what's going to impact how you show up in relationships with others and how you show up in a relationship with yourself. All right? Period. All right? I'm going to give y'all one more scenario. These are all people that I know. That's why I'm not sharing no names, because if they come on here, I want you to come on here. I want you to hear what I'm talking about so that you can get the wisdom, get the insight. People on Instagram, if you click the link in my bio, you'll see work with me or something like that. And then when you click that, you go to my website, you can click the link that says Womb Alchemy Healing, and you'll be able to sign up for that class absolutely for free. We're going to be talking more detailed about masculine and feminine energy and healing that. One more scenario. Did any of y'all grow up with a parent who was strict? You absolutely can join the class, Bruna, Karina. You can join the class on Saturday. Yep. It's going to be, the class is going to be held on Zoom. So you can join the class from the UK. I've had multiple people join classes from the UK and Africa and other places. So yes, you can. Did any of y'all grow up with a strict parent or a strict father? Thank you for the love. It says, thank you. So much gratitude for you coming and sharing with us. You've been coming through with all these messages and resonating so heavy. That spirit. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be a vessel for this light. Yes. All right. So Indigo's love says she grew up with both of her parents were strict. Yes. Those military parents, honey, they make you they make you make your bed a certain way. They make you clean up all the time, which is not a bad thing. You need to clean up and make your bed and have that responsibility. But some of these parents don't let you have no flexibility. Some of these parents, you can't make no mistake. They on your ass, right? Man, let me tell you how this affects people in relationships. One, within the relationship with yourself, you feel like you got to be perfect. And so this disables you from taking action and learning a new skill. Oh my God. I can't tell you how many people, how many women, and how many friends I have and I've coached that have been afraid to take leaps of faith in unknown areas because they have this belief in their mind that if they don't do good at this thing, they're going to look like a fool or they're going to be judged. Wow. And that deeply impacts your relationship with yourself. Because something in your spirit, something in your soul is asking you to move in a different direction. But because that different direction is uncomfortable, it's new, and you don't know how it's going to go. You don't, with strict parents, they tell you, we do this. There's structure. When you're moving into something new, there is no structure. It's just flow. It's just, okay, I'm just going to see what happens. A lot of people who grew up with strict parents and a strict father, they are afraid of the unknown. Things have to be crystal clear. It has to be logic and reasoning. Yes, yes, yes. It gets deep. It gets deep. Or even when I think about not even necessarily a strict, well, it is still strict. But when people grow up with parents who, or with a father who is like very hard on them, very hard, unreasonably hard, right? So much so to where the parent may miss the understanding that maybe this deficiency, and it's not even the deficiency, but maybe this difference in approach that this kid has is because they are wired differently. I have a friend, a close friend, who I love. For many years, she struggled in school. Many years, she struggled in school. And for a long time, she did not receive the help that she needed. She just felt, because her father had such high expectations, right? Her father was like, come on, do this, do this, do this. Her father was pretty strict. He had such high expectations of her. He didn't realize that she was, the way her mind is set up, he didn't realize that her creative genius was in a different realm. It's not in schools. It's not in the books. Let me tell y'all how deep this shit gets. Didn't realize that it's not there. And so she ended up for many years not getting the help that she needed to be able to be successful in school, right? In traditional school, high school, college. She didn't get the resources that she needed for a long time. And so now she still has this thing in her mind where she still wants to do the school thing because something in her wants to prove that she can. Okay? Wants to prove to her father, I can be a good student. I can learn. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, you can do it. But you have to do it purely because it is a desire of yours, and you have to be willing to be uncomfortable and to seek the help that you need, because your history tells you that academically you're gonna need help. But this young lady that I love, she talks about it, she talks about it, she talks about it, but never really follows through with it. Why? Because her relationship with herself has been shaped, right, and cultivated based off of having to prove to her father that she can, rather than her. See, it's the same thing. Because her father didn't cultivate the gifts that she actually has, now she doesn't cultivate her gifts. She tries to go out and prove. This friend that I'm talking about is great around the house. She's great with housework. She's great with children. She's great when it comes to athletics and exercising. But do you think she want to build a business in any of those things that will create a very lucrative business? No. No. She wants to go to school and do something where she would need to get her doctorate degree to do. And I'm not mad at that. If that's what you want to do it. But you have to know from where that desire comes from. Is it purely yours, or is it the little girl who still wants to prove that she's capable? Wow. Listen, this energy is so deep. This energy is so real. And I just want you, family, to know that first and foremost, you have to understand what is governing how and why you show up in the ways that you do. Why does this trigger you? Why do you like this or enjoy this? Why do you shame yourself or guilt trip yourself or reject yourself or self-sabotage? Why do you do these things? I will tell you that a lot of this stuff is the influence of your parents that you have not been able to recognize and identify. And I'm helping you today to identify those things so that you can do the alchemy, so that you can do the healing, so that you can do the transformation and use it. See, my friend that I just told you about, she can use that as fuel to go forward, to pursue the doctorate degree, to pursue that profession. She can use it as fuel, but she first has to recognize that the fuel comes from needing to prove to her father that she can be academically astute. See, if she's not made aware of that, she won't seek the resources that she needs to seek that will support her in her studies. And guess what? She will continue to repeat the story of not being able to complete things academically because she doesn't know where that fuel is actually coming from. She doesn't know where that belief about herself and that desire to actually pursue school, she doesn't know where it's actually coming from. And if you don't know where it's coming from, then you can't do the necessary work to either use it, right? Or to either let it go. Okay? If she could understand, I still have this desire to prove to my father that I can do this in school. I still have that desire. Because her father is actually very smart guy. But if she could just understand that that's what was gassing her up for that, then she could say, okay, I see where this is coming from. Do I still want that? Does that still serve me? Okay, it does still serve me. I still want to do this profession because I love it. Okay, now let me get the resources. Let me find the people. Let me build the connections and the relationships. And then I guarantee you she will succeed and she will thrive. Okay? If the child in you realized that a part of your fear with doing something new and being a novice and being the fool, embarking on this unknown journey, if you really knew that a part of you feared that because who your father was or who your mother was, you would then tell yourself, okay, all right, this isn't mine to carry. This isn't who I have to be. Let's go for it. And then when you get into that new thing, now you can use the discipline and the strictness that your parents instilled in you. You can use that to help you grow and expand and learn that thing faster than somebody else who's only doing it once a week. Because that strictness and that discipline was what you grew up as, when you enter this new realm, you can do that thing every single day and you will learn faster or be better than somebody that's been doing it for a month or a year. But if you don't acknowledge, realize, and recognize where these things are coming from, you continue going through life being pulled and pushed and swayed in all of these different directions. And you're like pulling your hair out because you're like, why can't I figure this thing out? It's because you have not really looked at the emotional and mental lessons that you've learned from your parents. Specifically, we're talking about the father for the month of June. If you don't look at that and reflect upon that and make peace with that and understand that at a very deep level, even for people who do not know their fathers, because many of you have been reaching out to me. If you have any energies within you that is like, oh, I don't know who I really am, that's okay. Admit that. If you have an identity crisis, admit that. Because at least when you admit that and you understand that, now you can start pulling certain qualities and characteristics from other masculine energies that you do admire and connect yourself to that for however long that it serves you. Because understand, there are qualities about your father that may serve you now and won't serve you in next year. But you have to have a certain level of consciousness to be able to realize and recognize that energy. All right. I thank y'all for all the donations. I appreciate y'all so much. That's love. Thank you, Modest Moore. Thank you, Sarah Mother. And thank you again, AA. Listen, any questions before we get off here? This has been so beautiful, so powerful. If you know somebody that has these father wounds, right? Whether they still have them right now or not, you definitely want to share this video with them. Peace, I'm him, who you. Peace, what's up? Um, I just love y'all. I'm so grateful to share this message. I hope to see all the ladies on Saturday. We're going to go deeper into this for the ladies because, ladies, you got to balance out those energies. We're not saying, oh, be super feminine and I'm in my feminine soft girl bag. I love that too. But some of y'all are too in your feminine soft girl bag and you ain't made a life for yourself yet. You can't be all in the feminine and your foundation is shaky. I had to learn that lesson for myself. I can't be all go with the flow and all of that. I love all of that. I love all of that. I love all of that. I'm a very sensual woman, but I also understand I gotta know how to handle business too. I gotta know how to go and get it too. And a lot of times we're under this spell of femininity, but you don't have that solid foundation to build that femininity off on. All right. Okay, we got some questions. Estella Max says, what about C-section birth? Yeah, it's the same thing. You still have that same impact because you're still coming into the light. You're still piercing that veil. So it is the same thing. You do still typically lose your memory, but if you have enlightened parents, then you can hold on to that consciousness. But most of us aren't born to super enlightened people. And for Anubis, it says, first impressions in life tend to have the strongest effect on us. Very true. With experiences or relationships, they program how we view that person or thing. How do you override these deeper programs? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This entire build, you override those. It's not about overriding them. Okay. Because if you override it, that means the program still exists. You just put something on top of it. So that's not how you want to look at it. What you want to do, instead of trying to override, meaning put something on top of it and act like it's not there, what you actually want to do is become aware and acknowledge that program. You want to know the way in which that program shows up in your life, right? You want to know what triggers that program to come online. You want to know how you act, how you behave. That is a result of that program. Really? How my phone just going to die off? Okay, whatever. You want to know when that program comes online because sometimes the program is not always operating. Sometimes that program starts operating when certain things happen, when you get triggered, right? So you want to know what that is. And then when you discover that, you actually want to change the program, not override. Okay. You actually want to change the program. You actually want to give yourself a new code. You actually want to do alchemy on that program. That's what you want to do. That takes work. We're talking about that in Patreon right now. In Patreon, we're reading the book. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And that entire book is about rewriting the program. All right. Love it. Let's keep going real quick. Yes, we getting busy on Saturday. Peace, Xavier. Peace, Shamika. Hey, sis. Yes, Sarah Mother says, can't wait to meet you in a few weeks. See you at the conference. Yes, I'm excited about that. I am excited about that conference. We have some good stuff in store for y'all. How to become secure with yourself. Super says, how to become secure with yourself. Well, I feel that security, first of all, you have to understand that there is really no such thing as security within this human form. And why is that? There's no such thing as security within this human form because everything must die. Everything must change. The only real constant in humanity is change. So how is security even a real thing? But when we're talking about security within yourself, see, you can, everything is always ebbing and flowing. Everything is always ebbing and flowing. So the greatest thing you can do to become secure within yourself, Super, the greatest thing that you can do is accept the fact that you are always evolving. Accept the fact that you are always changing. Because the moment you get too secure and too attached to a certain idea, to a certain identity, to a certain perception, that's the moment you actually start dying. Ooh, see, y'all, you wasn't expecting no answer like that. You probably were expecting me to say, oh, get confident, work on your self image, work on your self perception. No, work on the desire to attach to certain beliefs, ideas, and shit like that, and understand that there is no such thing as security. The only thing that is secure is change. So if you really want to get secure, understand that you are a divine sacred being having a human experience, and within that you're going to always be asked to change and to grow, and that's where you gain security. You gain security by knowing you will not always look the same, you will not always feel the same. You may not always make the same amount of money. You may not always have the same partner. You may not always like your mama, your daddy, your kids. It's just not going to happen. So become comfortable in being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with having to grow and evolve, and be secure in that. So that way, when things in your reality start to change, you're grounded in the fact that you have skills, you have resources, you have a divine connection to source that allows you to bloom and blossom, but also hibernate, right? But also release and purge when the time is right. All right. That's my time with y'all. Ladies, sign up for the class on Saturday. It is absolutely free. We're going to be talking about balancing out masculine and feminine energy. I've already dropped the link. The link is also pinned to the chat. And then lastly, let me know in the comments, not on this, in the chat of this video. Let me know in the comments of this video what resonated with you during this build. I look forward to hearing from y'all. Peace and love. And I'll see y'all. Actually, I'm going to see y'all on Thursday, right? I'm going to see y'all tomorrow on Dream Wise's and Brother Yosef's channel. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. And then I'll see y'all on Saturday. All right? Peace.